Okay, I guess we're ready to rip. Good morning and thank you for joining us. My name is John Lee. I'm the President and CEO of Economic Development Regina, and I'm pleased to welcome everyone today to our virtual event. Joining us this morning is Mayor Sandra Masters, Edmund Bellegarde, Tribal Council Chief and CEO of File Hills Qu'Appelle Tribal Council, Dr. Bob Casius of First Nations University of Canada, Dr. Thomas Chase, Acting President of the University of Regina, and Dr. Larry Rosia, President of Saskatchewan Polytech. As well, many MPs and MLAs are joining us today. And on behalf of EDR and all of us, thank you for being part of this announcement. Before we begin, I'd like to acknowledge that the land by which we are on and gathered is Treaty 4 territory and the traditional territory of the Cree and Saulteaux, Assiniboine, and Métis. For those of us, or those of you who do not know us, Economic Development Regina is the lead agency for economic development and tourism within the Regina area. We're very pleased. We're a not-for-profit organization governed by a volunteer board of directors with our shareholder being the City of Regina. We're here today because the EDR board and our organization, along with the City of Regina, felt that this was a very unique opportunity to pursue the Canadian Water Agency for our fine city, and we've made it a priority. Several of our board members are joining us today, including our board chair, Frank Hart, and several colleagues. Along the way, we've been joined by a steering committee made up of more than 15 outstanding community leaders on this project. Not only are they from Regina, but they're from throughout Saskatchewan and Manitoba. On behalf of EDR and its volunteer board, I want to acknowledge and thank this group, all of whom are on this call today. In particular, I want to make a special shout out to Mark McLeod, who has chaired and led the steering committee. The slide displayed on your screen includes the names of the steering committee, but certainly not everyone involved. But to everyone, thank you for your contributions and significant amount of time to make this a reality. With all that said, let's get down to why we're here this morning. In December, the Minister of Environment and Climate Change, the Honorable Jonathan Wilkinson, and the Minister of Agriculture and Agri-Food, the Honorable Maria Claude Bobo, announced the launch of public consultations to establish the new Canadian Water Agency and improve freshwater management across Canada. Regina is working to attract the headquarters for the Canadian Water Agency to our fine city, a move that could lead to significant opportunity for Saskatchewan economic future. No resource is more important to Canadians than fresh, clean water to our economy, our health, and well-being. I'll be introducing our special guests for the virtual session in a minute. After our speakers have presented, we will take questions from the media. And the way we'd like to handle it is if we could ask you to submit questions through the chat box, and our team will be more than happy to coordinate those with you. Also, for the members of the media, EDR will accommodate individual interview requests following the event, and our communications manager, Chris, who's listed at the bottom of the media release, will be able to coordinate those with you. So I would encourage you to give him a call after if you're interested. Before I turn it over to Mayor Masters, here are just a few facts you should know about Canada and Saskatchewan as it relates to water. First of all, Canada has the third largest renewable supply of fresh water in the world, about 7% of global renewable supply. Agriculture is the #1 consumer of water in Canada. Third, fresh water is often sacred and at the center of all life for Indigenous peoples. In addition, a Saskatchewan fact, Saskatchewan has more than 100,000 lakes, numerous rivers and reservoirs. These stats and information speak to the importance of what we're doing here today. Water and water management are vital to our way of life, and having the Canadian Water Agency here in Regina makes good sense for Saskatchewan and all of Canada. With that, I'd like to invite and ask one of our biggest champions and supporters, Mayor Masters, to say a few words. Mayor.
Thanks, John. Dr. Chase and Dr. Rossi and invited guests, thank you all for being here. I think the purpose of my being here today is to declare unequivocally that the province, the City of Regina, and the File Hills Tribal Council, with the support of the University of Regina, First Nations University, and Saskatchewan Polytechnic, are ready, willing, and absolutely able to host this agency. This effort has been a true Team Saskatchewan approach. And I would like to give, as John did, a shout out to the committee and all of those individuals who have come forward to collaborate and coordinate our advocacy for the Canada Water Agency to be located in the City of Regina. We're located in Treaty 4 territory and homeland to the Métis, and we're no strangers to the importance of water stewardship. From the First Nations people calling the prairies home, to many generations since, the importance of water is ingrained in who we are. It's in our way of life and our livelihood. Saskatchewan is a key center for water management research in Canada. First Nations University of Canada and the University of Regina, Saskatchewan Polytechnic are all committed to working alongside the CWA to continue this important work. Regina has the history, the partnerships, the commitment, and unique advantages to lead this generational opportunity. Our federal government has said there is no resource more essential to Canadians and the Canadian economy than clean, reliable, fresh water. And I couldn't agree more. And I believe Regina has three key advantages that make us a clear choice for the CWA. The first advantage we have in Regina has been cited by our Prime Minister, the legacy of the Prairie Farm Rehabilitation Agency, the PFRA. It was created in 1935, and this agency became internationally known as one of the world's leading agencies for sharing research and new technologies for water, agri-environmental issues, and sustainable water development. That legacy continues. Today, Saskatchewan has more water researchers per capita than any other province, and the largest freshwater project in the world. Just as it was 86 years ago, it's important to have a federal agency in Regina overseeing water issues to ensure our nation's future prosperity. Our second critical advantage is our partnership with Indigenous people. Regina is sincerely the proud home of the First Nations University of Canada. In the spirit of nation building, we believe the CWA can facilitate the blending of Western science with the traditional knowledge at the First Nations University of Canada to develop water solutions that serve all Canadians. There's only one post-secondary institution where that kind of cooperation and reconciliation can happen, and it's at the First Nations University of Canada, and that is in Regina. And of course, we have another critical advantage, our strong community. Our community-wide effort to attract the CWA to Regina is unmatched in Canada. Coming together in this effort are Indigenous scholars, traditional knowledge keepers, world-class climate change researchers, education and community leaders, and civic leaders who will nurture the CWA to be a national, nation-building success. Regina is the logical location for the Canada Water Agency. Our ability to work closely with Indigenous peoples to develop a modernized policy that works for all Canadians. Our long tradition of conserving and preserving our most precious resource, and our enthusiastic, close-knit community with proven success in housing federal agencies have created an environment for long-term, ongoing success. We sincerely look forward to that opportunity.
Thank you, Mayor Masters. Once again, thank you for your unequivocal support since day one. I'd now like to call on Edmund Bellegarde, Tribal Chief and CEO at File Hills Qu'Appelle Tribal Council. File Hills Qu'Appelle Tribal Council is the political and service organization for the Qu'Appelle Agency and the File Hills Agency, developing programs and services to the 11 First Nations in the Treaty 4 territory. Edmund.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you, John, and thank you to your worship, Mayor Masters, for leading us off, but also for ensuring that the consultation and the community effort included Indigenous people, along with the City of Regina, on this important initiative. I also want to acknowledge our treaty ancestors and our knowledge keepers. File Hills Qu'Appelle Tribal Council is made up of 11 First Nations with more than 17,000 citizens. Water is an important issue for us, not because of the challenges that are currently upon us, but in everyday life, in our ways and our ways of knowing and our sacred teachings. Climate change is upon us, and there has been many harmful activities that have created rise for a plan to come together to address and to ensure that the sacred teachings of Indigenous people are included and respected, but also used to strengthen the public policy moving forward. We believe that this can happen through the Canada Water Agency, and we would be proud to, on behalf of our 11 First Nations, to support and welcome the agency to be located here in the city of Regina. Water is not a commodity. Our Indigenous ways of being and knowing teach us this through our sacred teachings passed along through generations by our knowledge keepers. Water has a spirit. The rivers, the lakes, the streams, the aquifers, and the wetlands here that impact our lives every day. It is a different worldview, and that's okay. Part of reconciliation moving forward is that Indigenous knowledge across Turtle Island must be acknowledged and respected and included in the public policy dialogue. We believe that this can be achieved through collaboration at all levels of government, federal, provincial, Indigenous peoples, and community. The reconciliation efforts brought to us through the Truth and Reconciliation Commission and the 94 calls to action are not always forefront in daily life in public Canada. We want to ensure that this is the way moving forward, that reconciliation, that respectful dialogue, that inclusion of Indigenous knowledge is there. We must balance this initiative. It's not just about the economic impact or the economy and water's role in that. It is about building good relations. It is about understanding the special relationship that exists between Canada and the Indigenous people. And it is about ensuring that we are providing that good stewardship over water. A repository of knowledge, both Indigenous and Western science, can happen here in Regina. We can come together at the First Nations University of Canada, at the University of Regina, at the Saskatchewan Polytech, to strengthen access to this data, to collaborate and braid together all ways of knowing and the relationship with water from a Western science and an Indigenous knowledge perspective. We can strengthen public policy through a coexistent effort to balance all of these issues together. And the First Nations University, the U of R, and the Sask Polytech are great institutions that will bring this balance together. So with that, I am proud to say that on behalf of our File Hills Qu'Appelle Tribal Council, we support the Canada Water Agency being located in Treaty 4 territory. Thank you.
Chief Bellegarde, thank you for your remarks, your leadership, your counsel, and your commitment to being part of this critical opportunity. I'd like to now introduce Dr. Bob Casey-Yes. Bob is born in Saskatchewan. He's a Saulteaux scholar and has held many positions during his more than 19 years at First Nations University of Canada. And he is currently the interim president and vice president academic. Bob.
Thank you, John. Thank you, Your Worship, Sandra Masters, and thank you, Tribal Chief Edmund Bellegarde. I just want to say, thanks to the Tribal Chief for the expression of our community's values and goals and how they will contribute to the success of this Canada Water Agency, should it be located here in Regina. First Nations University was created by the Federation of Sovereign Indigenous Nations in 1976 We've been federated with the University of Regina since that time. We've grown considerably over the years, started out with a social work program, and our programming now ranges from 11 different degree offerings. And our student body started at, 6, I believe, in 1976. We now have over 1,300 students. So, the Afinianiv is the oldest First Nations post-secondary education in Canada. Now, what's unique about us is the way that we blend the Western knowledge and Indigenous knowledge. So all of our students they receive an education that's based on Indigenous knowledge with a really strong foundation of Western knowledge ingrained. We believe that a Canada Water Agency located in Regina will create many opportunities for engagement of Indigenous elders, leaders, communities, and the youth. This is an opportunity to develop a new federal agency with the inclusion of Indigenous elders and youth as a foundational element. Ensuring their voices are part of research and future water policy will be critical to engagement, consultation, and sustainability of our precious water resources. Should the Canada Water Agency be located in Regina, it could be a catalyst for the First Nations University to develop a new Institute of Sustainable Development and Resilience that would be built on Indigenous values and traditional knowledge, helping future generations ensure Canada's water ecosystems and communities are sustainable. I just wanted to say that all of us at the First Nations University are excited about this opportunity, and we think that the Canada Water Agency located in Regina is the best possible place. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Casius. I'd now like to introduce Dr. Thomas Chase, the interim president and vice chancellor of the University of Regina, to share a few thoughts.
Much, John. Good morning, everybody. Particular good morning to your worship, Mayor Masters, Chief Bellegarde. Great to see you again. Bob, though you're just down the road, it's good to see you via Zoom this morning. And Larry, good to see you. We are absolutely delighted to be part of this partnership bid. This is a university built on partnerships. As Bob just said, the 45-year partnership between the University of Regina and First Nations University of Canada is one of which we are very proud. Developing partnerships now with File Hills Qu'Appelle Tribal Council, including an academic partnership signed with the Faculty of Science last fall. The partnership with the city, and I'll just point out the College Avenue Renewal project. The University of Saskatchewan, our partnership via Johnson Cheyenne. Saskatchewan Polytechnic, we run a very large nursing program in partnership with Saskatchewan Polytechnic. So many great partnerships, and we're just absolutely delighted to be contributing to this one as part of a partnership to bring the Canada Water Agency to Regina. We've got many areas of academic and research expertise at the U of R, but water is an area of particular focus and collaboration. Addressing Canadian climate and water challenges will be increasingly critical. As a university, we are well placed to contribute to the Canada Water Agency. We can bring an active engagement with First Nations who must be involved, as both Bob and Chief Bellegarde have said. There's a growing practice of community and Indigenous involvement in research, which is so important when we are working for the public good. In terms of interinstitutional collaboration across Canada, we've collaborated on water and/or climate change research with 27 Canadian universities. We have international collaborations with researchers in 50 countries on freshwater and climate change research. Expertise in water quality, we have Canada Research Chair Dr. Peter Levitt. We have our colleague in the Department of Biology, Dr. Carrie Finlay, and others working with the Institute of Environmental Change and Society. Dr. Gordon Wong of our Faculty of Engineering does predictive modeling for floods and droughts. And climate change and sustainability policy is carried out by Dr. Margot Hurlbert of Johnson Cheyenne Graduate School. Dave Sachin and his colleagues with Park and Climate West work on climate resilience, sustainability, and water management strategies. In short, we are a national and global leader in water, environment, and sustainability research. Our expertise and capacity align in many ways with the Canada Water Agency's objectives, and we can bring that to bear on this partnership in a very real way. So the Canada Water Agency is a generational opportunity for our country, our province, and our city. And the University of Regina is delighted, excited, and proud to support this bid and the agency itself in any way that we can. We look forward to working with you, the team, in making this bid successful for the benefit of all. Thank you very much.
Dr. Chase, thank you. And just a quick shout out, thank you to you. I know you're ending your term as the interim president through an incredibly challenging time. So thank you for your contributions to our community and your role in this project. What I'd like to do now is introduce Dr. Larry Rosia, President and CEO of the Saskatchewan Polytech. Dr. Rosia.
Good morning, and thank you, John. Your worship masters, Dr. Chase, Dr. Bellegarde, Dr. Casius, elected officials, and special guests this morning. Tawau, Hawanin, Tenshi, Atlanate, thank you all for being here. I want to begin with an acknowledgement that Saskatchewan Polytechnic campuses are located on Treaty 4 and Treaty 6 territories, the ancestral lands of the Cree, the Saulteaux, Dene, Dakota, Lakota, Nakota peoples, and the traditional homeland of the Métis. Like all of the speakers before me, I am very pleased to voice the support of Saskatchewan Polytechnic for this remarkable Team Saskatchewan effort to bring the Canadian Water Agency to Regina. Water is a vital part of our common future, and Saskatchewan Polytechnic has a long-standing history of applied research on water stewardship. Today, that work includes vital research on water security, land runoff, water utilization, and other key topics. Saskatchewan Polytechnic has a reputation for providing a consistent, highly technical, qualified talent pipeline related to water stewardship. Each year, we supply the labor force with graduates in civil engineering, environmental engineering, needs assessment analysis, integrated resource management. The Canadian Water Agency presence in Regina would create an opportunity for us to deliver more graduates than ever, an exciting development for sure. Lastly, Saskatchewan Polytechnic has a deep understanding of water security issues on the prairies. At the same time, we have a long history of working with Indigenous communities. Knowing that the Regina-based Canadian Water Agency would strive to blend Indigenous and Western knowledge, we are very excited to collaborate in bringing this vision to reality. We look forward to many successful days ahead. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Rosia. Well, you can see this is compelling, and Team Saskatchewan has spoken. That covers our formal portion of today's event. On behalf of Economic Development Regina, its board of directors, and the City of Regina, I'd like to thank all of you and all of the partners involved in this announcement today. If you're interested in more information, please feel free to visit our website at www.chooseregina.com. Site outlines our full case for the Canadian Water Agency, including a long list of supporters. I encourage you to take a look. Now we'll be happy to take questions from our media friends. And as I indicated earlier, we ask that you either submit those questions in the chat box for this meeting or do a virtual hand raise, and we will get to you and unmute you as quickly as we can. Please let us know your name, what organization you're with before you ask a question, and we'll do our best to navigate through the technology and make this as seamless as possible. My colleagues, Carrie and Chris, will facilitate.
Okay, I'd like to welcome Arthur from the Leader Post. Go ahead.
Hi there, Arthur here. I just wanted to know, have you gotten a sense either through the consultation process or otherwise about what other cities or locations you're competing against to secure this agency?
John, or did you want to take that one? Or we can ask Mark to join us as well, who's helping lead this.
Sure. There haven't been official announcements across Canada yet in terms of what other cities are competing. We are aware there are a number that have expressed an interest. So we're just going to wait that out. And our organization and this group have decided that we're going to be proactive and put forward our proposal as soon as possible. And we think based on the presentations and the positioning, we just think Regina is very well suited to host to actually have the location of the Canadian Water Agency in our city. Anyone else have comments on that or
Can I add to that, John?
Yeah, Mayor.
I think the most significant thing that's of note is that Regina was named as the location for the Canada Water Agency in the original announcements. The purpose of it was to build upon the legacy of the PFRA, which was, of course, housed in Regina and in Saskatchewan. And so any and all other cities that are looking at this, you'd appreciate why anybody would want it. I just think that our competitive advantage is it was essentially conceptualized with us in mind at its beginnings.
Thanks. And I do have one follow-up here. I just wanted to know, what is the role of the province so far in, advocating for this project, and why are they not on the call sharing their perspective? It's just kind of a, conspicuous absence.
Mayor Masters, are you comfortable with that question?
Absolutely. Myself and I know Mark McLeod and several other members of this committee have had conversations with MLAs, the Premier himself. They are supportive of building upon the legacy of the PFRA. They are, and I believe will make a statement to that effect. This for the purposes of this meeting, this really is about the City of Regina, the University of Regina, FNUC, and Sask Polytech coming together with this group of individuals, not just from the City of Regina, but from outside our boundaries as well. And the province is supportive of our collaborative effort. And actually, that's fundamentally, I think, the scope and mandate of the Canada Water Agency, which is to be a place to coordinate and collaborate. And I think our effort clearly shows that we're prepared and completely confident to do that.
Thank you. I'll just remind anyone else from the media to raise their hand if they're interested. Oh, we've got a question here in their chat. Callie Stefanow from CTV is asking, how many jobs do you estimate the headquarters would create for the city?
I can take that one if you want. Right now, we're based on the projections of what an office like this would look like. It's estimated that there'd be approximately 100 full-time jobs in the city of Regina, as well a projected economic annual impact of approximately $70 million.
Any other questions from our media friends out there? Just a reminder to raise your hand. Have a couple more, give you a little bit of chance to digest this and keep everybody on the line here while we have them. Our speakers today did a really fantastic job of covering a lot of the key points though. Seeing no other questions, I guess I'd just like to formally end this and thank everybody for joining us today. Wish everybody a safe and great week in Regina. Take care.
One question there, Carrie.
Oh, sorry. Thanks, Callie.
I'm not letting you off the hook.
Yeah, no, yeah, keep on the line here. Okay. Callie's asking, would this require space to be built or use another building? And people are just needing a minute to type and rather than raising their hand. So who would like to respond to whether it would require space to be built? Sandra or Mark?
In terms of typically RFPs for government office space go out and clearly we have space available from existing, but if there are special requirements for the CWA or a special location they would like within the city of Regina, I think any and all options are on the table.
All right. So just a great question here coming in. So how have the talks with the federal government gone thus far?
I'll
Mary,
answer.
yeah.
And maybe Mark McLeod would like to add in as well. I can tell you from a federal perspective that everyone is incredibly supportive. They're busy working on the scope and mandate. They've done a national forum and 7 regional forums in terms of determining, again, the scope and mandate of the CWA. But it's acknowledged, and I would love to give a shout out to Mr. Ralph Goodale himself in terms of promoting the city of Regina and advocating for our city and this agency to be created. There is a significant need for it since the disbanding of the PFRA, and he's been a champion for our city. And everyone that we speak with, the ministers, the parliamentary secretary, and some of the individuals supporting those have been very favorable, and they're all aware, thanks to Mr. Goodale, that the CWA, again, was conceptualized with Regina in mind.
Yes, we'll give a couple minutes here just in case Callie or any others on the call have some questions. Oh, that's all from Callie. I will offer that if any of our media pals out there do have additional questions, they can reach out to Chris Bonk and set up one-on-one interviews with any of the panelists here. So seeing no other questions, thanks again to everybody for joining us today. Like I said before, have a safe and fantastic week ahead.
Thank you, everybody.